about trees, it's difficult to pick a favorite. So every time you see this tree becomes my new favorite, and that tree will be my new favorite then. I've got trees in the history, and I can't actually tell you what my favorite tree is. But I will come back to you when I suck all of them in, go through all those creases in my brain, and I will have a favorite tree for you. Watch this space then.
My favourite tree is an acacia tree.
The banana tree, because I like bananas.
Cherry tree, favourite tree, because it produces sweet fruits.
Giant redwoods.
Giant
Is that what they're
redwoods.
called?
How about you?
Pine. Pine tree.
It's a cherry tree. The blossom is beautiful, and I've got two in my garden. I put a hammock between the two and stare up into the canopy. Beautiful.
It's an amazing tree because of the beautiful walnuts that fall off it and come into our garden via the squirrels.
Yeah, this is the flower of the Divinorum, divine tree. And it looks like an angel, but also it's called the handkerchief tree. And it's got thousands and thousands and thousands of these hanging from the tree. And they look like thousands of handkerchiefs hanging off the tree. It's beautiful. And it's in the churchyard here.
It's got to be a silver birch tree because it's just got such a beautiful trunk, such a nice colour, and I love the way that the bark of it kind of flakes off, and it's just very pretty. Very nice tree.
I like the colour of the bark. It has beautiful purple stems when it first starts growing. It has catkins and beautiful leaves.
I like an oak tree.
Yeah, I like an oak tree as well.
Well, he's a carpenter, so he builds lots of things out of oak.
Well, I really love weeping willows because I just think they're so serene and romantic. And you can sit under them, or you can just gently caress the fronds, and they provide shade over the river.
We were talking about the Middle Eastern conflict, the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, and you can't mention that and talk about trees without talking about olive trees. There's this symbolic speech by Yasser Arafat where he came in and said, I have this olive branch in my hand and I have a rifle in the other. Please don't let me drop the olive branch.
My favourite tree is a beech because they grow upwards and outwards. They're absolutely magnificent. They create amazing canopies, and the light that comes through them is the most stunning thing I've ever seen.
Excuse me. I'm asking people about their favourite trees. Have you got a favourite tree?
What is the wood that goes solid when you put it in water? Is it ash?
Ash, I think.
Ash.
Copper beech. I used to have one in the front garden. Beautiful. Sold the house, and the people who bought it cut the tree down. And I'll never forgive them.
My favourite tree is a weeping willow in Mervynwood.
I like the larch.
My favourite tree is a hazel. I just think the leaves are so nice and pretty. And
I really love my handkerchief tree, but I'm going to go for the good old humble hawthorn. Normally cropped, but when it blossoms, I just love the scent of summer.
So when you see an oak tree, it tells you about time. The stories that oak trees can tell are amazing. If you want to talk to an oak tree, just hold on to it, grab it. I'm not a tree hugger, but I understand what they're saying.
My favourite tree is poetry.
You sure it's not lava tree?
No.
My favourite tree is a cherry tree.
Favourite tree is an apple tree.
Trees are ancient trees because they're big and gnarly, got lots of holes, and they're fantastic for wildlife.
My favourite tree is a beech tree because when they grow really big, they look like sea monsters. Right, my favourite tree is that one over there.
What's your favourite tree, sir?
That's a difficult one. I like them all.
Make a snap decision.
I like hawthorn.
I like an oak tree.
My tree, the mighty oak.
Great majestic oak with all its frilled leaves and acorns full of squirrels collecting their nuts.
So when I was 9, I lived in the southeast and I witnessed the hurricane that hit the southeast in 1987.
and woodlands were completely flattened, and I woke up with all the trees outside my window completely flattened, and I was incredibly upset. And since then I've loved trees, and I bought my house in the Wye Valley because of the most gorgeous cherry tree in my garden.
Sweet chestnut tree. It's in Clayton Hall, and it's one that I and my children collected conkers from for all their childhood, and they're 30 odd now. Sadly, the tree has demised, but it's always been my favourite tree around here.
Copper beech that we planted in memory of my horse when he died. So it's for Jack, the horse.
My favourite tree is my granddad's tree because he hangs toothbrushes in it.
Sorry, what do you want me to do?
What's your favourite tree?
You asked me a question, I'll respond. Okay, go on, start again.
Okay, so what's your favourite tree?
My favourite tree is silver birch at the moment, which is what I'm going to be carving spoons out of here, because everything's useful, from the timber down to the finest twig. It all has a use, and it looks beautiful as well.
We all like oak trees.
Is that the agreed family position?
That's an oak tree.
Yeah, oak tree. Yeah.
I like the great, big, powerful oak.
My favourite tree is the family tree.
The family.
Well, aside from the family tree, it's the ash tree. We've got a kitchen floor made of ash, we've got a bed made of ash, and I'm terrified about the impact of ash dieback, and I just love ash trees. I grew up under one nearly, and they're just the greatest trees around.
It's perfectly beautiful. It's a Paulownia, and the flowers come out before the leaves, like a magnolia, and it has lovely sort of blue things like jacaranda, and we saw one on the way here.
There is a tree in Bristol, in Queen Square, that has a great big growth on its trunk, and it's the shape of a bottom. So the tree is known as the bottom tree. And you have to stroke it when you go past. For years and years, we would all go over to the bottom tree and give it a kiss and make a wish. Did we? And that's my favourite tree.
Brilliant. Why? Because they're big and you can make tables out of them. That's about it.
I'd say an oak tree as well. No, is that boring? Yeah.
Is that because they make tables out of them?
No, because we used to play inside the oak tree in our old school, because it was hollow inside and it's still there. Now my children are playing inside it.
My favourite tree is the ash, because I planted it. I thought it was a rowan, but it turned out to be an ash, and it's much, much bigger than I thought it was going to be. It was only going to be this high, but now it's up to the sky.
I like the beech tree. I like the shape of the leaves and its colours. No, Reg, it's got to be the oak.
So I like false acacia, which you don't see very much in Britain, because it's durable and the quality of the timber is lovely and they look great, and they've got edible seed pods. And a tree that you see just over there is Douglas firs, and they're great. It's there. And they're great, and they grow quick, and they produce good timber, and they're ideal, and they're lovely. And that's it.
I like lemon trees and avocado trees. These come from southern Spain. I picked them 3 days ago, and I arrived here last night.
My favourite tree is a willow tree.
And same with me, because I changed my mind because I forgot about a willow tree.
My favourite tree is a holly because it makes me think of Christmas.
Oak and ash and thorn return, all on a midsummer's morn. Surely we sing of no little thing in oak and ash and thorn.
Martin, what's your favourite tree?
I am going.
What's your favourite
animals,
tree?
I'm not into trees.
You're working for the Wildlife Trust and you don't like trees?
I used to have a palm tree when I was in Central America, that's about it.
Where I live then actually isn't. There's one park and it doesn't have many trees in it. But I'd say a tree that looks old and it's got lots of branches that do this is what I would say is my favourite tree. They can hide under.
My favourite tree is a willow tree.
A thuya. Don't ask me to thuya, but don't ask me to spell it.
And I've never met a tree I don't like.
Neither have I.
Yeah, my favourite. Are you ready?
Sorry?
You ready?
You're quite partial to a cherry tree.
I told my son that he was born under the spindleberry tree and we call him Brindleberry Boy from the spindleberry tree.
How about silver birch?
Well, I like the oak.
I was going to say that as well, but then I thought silver birch meant a lot to me.
I like the oak furniture as well.
I like the Acer tree because when it comes out, it has these beautiful colours, a deep, deep red colour. We've also got in our garden, we've got a yellow one.
My mother was very involved with trees, and we actually have a standard of them in a local forest dedicated to her. And so when my daughter was born, I named after a tree in memory of my mum.
Do you like trees, Eloisa?
We saved a very special grove of California redwood trees just up in Penny Vaughan, up the valley there. When the Forestry Commission were going to clear fell them, so I love them. It's got a lovely soft outside and hard and it's beautiful and it's like a little cathedral.
My favourite tree is a mango tree because when I was a little girl we had a mango tree in the garden and the smell of those mangoes as you picked them and ate them, it stays with me forever.
The ginkgo tree, because I've got one in my garden and it's got beautiful leaves that turn from green to yellow to falling off, and the shape is just wonderful.
My favourite tree is a silver birch tree because it's just willowy and beautiful, and I love the white trunk and it's just angular shapes and then these willowy branches. Lovely.
Tree, tree,
But what's your favourite tree?
tree,
But what's your favourite tree?
tree,
Yeah, but what's your favourite tree?
tree.
You got a favourite tree, Chris?
No, I don't. I've never thought about it. It's a bit of a weird question, isn't it?
Yeah.
You must have a favourite.
I mean, I've seen some good trees. That big tree we saw in Sri Lanka, that baobab,
Yeah.
was quite good.
Yeah. I don't know about British trees, though. Oak tree I like.
Yeah, oak trees are a classic, really, aren't they?
Classic.
It's nice to see the beeches come out up the hill where we live.
Palm trees I like, though, because that means I'm abroad.
It's a copper beech in the Mendips. It's a copper beech next to the most beautiful chapel, next to the most beautiful mill pond in the house that I used to grow up in. And it's enormous. It was just the biggest, most glorious thing. And when it first started to unfurl its leaves, it was this gentle pink. And then for the following month, it would just turn deeper and deeper red until it was almost purple black against the most beautiful blue summer sky. A bit like today's sky, really. That's my favourite tree.